She's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of arts and crafts, generally with yarn, but sometimes with material, sometimes with stitching, sometimes with quilting.
Yeah.
We have so many different ways that we love to share this craft.
Goodness with you.
Yes, and so today we have a lot of yarn, specifically yarn crafts to share with you today. And we're starting to get back into the regular regimen after a month of...
Well, I'm going to explain that too. I wanted to apologize because I went over the numbers in my head and it was actually only 3 weeks, not 1 month. That in the last video I said it was a month since, or we said it was a month since we broadcast last, but it was 3 weeks. It's actually a month today since I contracted COVID or started getting the symptoms for it, I guess. I don't know when I actually contracted it. So a month today I was getting the fevers and the cough and all that, and I'm so much better. I'm so grateful. But I just wanted to retract that and say that we're trying to be as honest as we can with you guys, and I just wanted to make sure that you got as much of the truth as you could. Even if it doesn't apply to you, we just want to make sure that when we're speaking that you're getting the truth.
accurate information.
Yes. And my husband and I Saturday decided that we were going to do something that we both love to do. We both love to go to the thrift stores, and we have not done that since probably early May. He's not been in the mood for it, which is very it's a good sign for me to know that he was actually just grieving his mother. She had died on May 4th, and we had gone just before she died, thrift shopping, and that was the last time before this last weekend. And I knew, but he never said anything, and so I wasn't gonna bring it up.
Right.
But when he finally said, well, what do you want to do? And it was like, can we go to the thrift stores? And he was like, yeah. And so I always look for yarn. And I was like, I'm going to be looking for, whatever I can get. And we went to the first couple of stores and I didn't really find anything. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, I need to find something so that I can bring it home and start doing my scrap afghans, just all these scrappy yarns. And we went to the third store. And oh my goodness, I was so amazed at the treasure trove I got. And I know that it was something in me just tells me it was a husband who lost his wife and didn't know what to do with her yarn stash, so gave it to the thrift store. And I was the lucky recipient. So I got Bernat, I've got I Love This Yarn, I got Red Heart, Super Saver, and I was getting full skeins, or partial skeins, or balls.
Yeah, enough where it was still decent amount of yarn. It wasn't just small little bits.
With the labels on them still.
Yeah.
And I was just like, are you kidding me? And the prices went from 99 cents to $1.99 for partials to $2.99 for the full skeins. And I got a garbage bag, a regular size garbage bag full of skeins of yarn for $35. And I did not think that was a bad price.
No.
You go to Joann's or Hobby Lobby and you're going to spend that just on a couple of skeins. Mm-hmm. I got a whole garbage bag full. And they're all really pretty colors. I could probably make an Afghan, king size Afghan, with the colors that I got in that bag, and they would all flow together. It was really, really nice. Whoever it was that gave this yarn had a really good eye and a really good color palette. And I'm so grateful that God led us there and that I was able to find the yarn, not only find it, but at good prices, and that I had the money to buy it. Mm-hmm. So it was a good day, and I'm so grateful to God for showing me a good deal. And so yeah, that's what we did this weekend. So, and do you want me to show my blanket real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't have that much to report.
I finished the Afghan I started, and I did it in 10 days. And we showed you last week how much I got done. And I want to show you from the beginning. We started with the light purple and blues. And it's solid colors with a variegated. So then it goes into darker colors and darker and darker, and then we get into the brights.
Blacks with bright.
Yeah, it almost looks like a light bright up here. Just all the different colors that go into the light bright.
I like this because my mom chooses a solid, right? And then she kind of does this thing where it's like she chooses a variegated, but the solids have their own ombre as they're going up along with the paired yarn that is its already set ombre. And so it works amazingly well, because even though these ombres might not actually match when you see it, like if you were to see it in live person and it's just laid out, this still works.
All the way up.
It works perfectly together, and these are like their own masterpieces.
And
it's amazing.
When I stood up yesterday, it came up to my forehead. I'm 5'4", so I figured that's a good enough lap blanket for somebody that would sit in a chair and probably just tuck it under their arms. It would cover their feet.
Yeah.
And for most people, I mean, really extreme tall people, I have to make longer ones. But for us average sized Joes, we would probably be covered up pretty well. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at.
I've just been working on the Santa pillow, and here's the thing. Since the last time I talked to you guys, I was telling you that during the time that my mom was dealing with all the COVID stuff, I had finally made it to go to the ER to discover that the pain I've been dealing with for a month prior had been kidney stones.
Yeah.
And because of that diagnosis, apparently I had a stone that's trying to pass that is at a size that they do not feel would be safe for me to try to pass on my own. And so we've been working on getting the scheduling for my surgery to be done. Simple in and out surgery. I will not be in any danger. And it's a very simple procedure. But the issue is that my insurance has been so insane. I don't know if I explained this last week at all and or well, but pretty much my husband switched jobs at the end of August. And he went from a job that we had work insurance for,
right,
to a temp position that paid more and is working to be hired into that position.
Right.
But transferring from a place that had insurance to just being a temp, you didn't get insurance as a temp. You have to be hired into the company, and then you have the option of working with their insurance.
Right.
Right? Well, when you are no longer an employee, they're supposed to terminate all your benefits. But they never did. They pretty much just stopped him being an employee getting paid. Like, he just was on leave. We had no idea that for this whole amount of time we've actually still had that old work insurance. He's still a temp. We shouldn't have any work insurance right now, but it was active. And I'm trying to figure out what to do, because I'm operating under the information this whole entire time that I don't have insurance, but it's actively labeling as green, so none of the doctors have been questioning me about my billing. And I'm assuming that I'm going to be sent to finance, and I was planning on talking to all the finance places as I was going, but then they'd be like, well, no, it looks like you're good, and then I discovered that I had it. And it was a nightmare because I had already worked towards trying to get state insurance, to find out that I had already had that too. I didn't even realize I had state insurance, but apparently it was working as secondary. And so I'm trying to get it to be updated to be my first insurance, because I don't operate under the old work insurance because we're not paying for it. And
we don't want insurance fraud at all.
And I don't technically qualify if I don't pay. And I qualify obviously for state insurance with everything going on, and I already have it. But they can't put me as someone that uses them as first when there is something already labeled as first. And if there's something already labeled there, they always take the second spot. And so it has been a nightmare. And even though the doctor is working with me really well, I've been so stressed. I've been sitting here almost tears every single day when James comes home, trying to figure out what the new update is, because he's been working so hard to try to figure out how to get them to cancel it, just to have them be like, well, we might have to retrovac you, and if you've been using us, and well, who's been paying for us, which the old work had been, so it shouldn't be on us, but still, just all these different things. On top of, I do have state insurance, but they don't even, like, if I give them any false information, which I'm only getting partial information this whole entire time,
Right.
I could possibly jeopardize that help.
Plus her original surgery was on October 28th, then it got switched to November 12th, then back to October 28th, and now it's November 12th again.
Well, it was originally October 28th, but that's when I thought I didn't have insurance. The location that I was going to go to wasn't going to actually be the real hospital where I could get some financial program or something where I could actually put all the bills into one and I could pay on it. It was going to be from a surgery center where their protocol for financial, if you don't have insurance, financial compensation is completely different, and it has to be paid off within a year, or paid in full when you walk in, and that is not covering the doctor and or the anesthesiologist. And so I was like, well, I can't afford that. So I'm going to switch it to being next month, where I have a little more time to try to get insurance. And I also had it rescheduled when it was going to be in November to be at the hospital, where I had that cushion if I couldn't get insurance.
Right.
Just to find out I had state insurance. So I was able to get rescheduled for the 28th to find out that not only did I have state insurance, I actually had work insurance. So now I was battling to figure out who was going to be taking a coverage for it. Now the 28th is next week. From where we stand today, it would actually be a week.
A week from today.
I know that you guys see us on Monday or Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
But where we are right now is Thursday, and it would be a week away. And I'm just sitting there being like, I have too many uncertainties, because to prove to the state that I no longer have this insurance, I have to have a termination letter written by this work insurance that has been a nightmare to cancel. Now they're working on it, but it still isn't fully canceled, even on their own system. And once it finally is, I have to get a head letter from them that it shows proof of termination.
Ugh.
Fax it to the state insurance. State insurance will take it to the state. The state will be the middle person that then talks to that work insurance to confirm. Then it would head back to the state. Then it would go back to the state insurance, and then I'd be qualified to be a first rate insurance for a applicant for them. And because that could literally take 2 days, it could be that simple, but because I don't know when it's going to be fully terminated, I can't guarantee that. So I end up pushing it back to the 12th, where it'd be at the hospital again, where if this all blows up, I still have the ability to get the surgery. But because that is my existence right now, I have been a bit stressed. It was a busy weekend on top of it. It was just all these little stacks. It's like that character that is holding all the books for everybody, and then that feather falls down and it just comes crashing down.
Yeah.
It was like I was waiting for the feather.
Right.
All these things separately are their own toll, but now you're putting everything together, and I'm trying to do this balancing act while still have 2 kids, a household to run, my husband, and church, and just, it was a disaster. And though crochet and knitting and crafting is normally my safe space, it's kind of how we introduced how we do our vlogs, to kind of talk about how this can really help you have a spot to just hone in on and be able to just be like, nope, right now I'm just going to take this mental space and just chill.
Yeah.
And take this time to actually be productive while sitting still. I wasn't able to do that. I just wasn't able to get to that spot where it felt comfortable, because I felt like I had so much I had to do. I had to try to find another person to call, try to figure out another person to help me with this advice. And I just did not feel comfortable sitting down and doing my craft. But then I'm sitting there also being like, I have so much to get done before Christmas. These are Christmas orders that I have to have done by the end of November and sent out. Completed.
Right.
On top of the gifts I'm doing for my nephews that have to be done by Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, one more thing. One more feather. And then you have God just being like, I knew this was going to happen. And all of a sudden you're sitting there being like, he knew it. He has a plan. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so yesterday I was able to sit down. And I was able to get, you guys saw me just working on this back of the pillow, but now the back of the pillow is completely done.
And the ruffles.
And the ruffles and everything. I was able to follow the pattern. It was very satisfying to see how that worked. And currently I am working on the Christmas hat, the Santa hat for the Santa pillow. And I'm sitting down. I have my Bluetooth headphones on and I have them attached to my phone. I turn something on and then I have my tablet that has the pattern on it, and I'm just taking the time
To do it.
to do something that is good for me, that will get things done, that even if I have to sit still to do it, it gives my body a chance to rest.
Yeah. And your mind too.
Yeah. I am very lucky that right now, from what I can tell, the kidney stone has made it to my bladder, so it's in a bit of a limbo.
Thank goodness.
So I'm not in active pain. They just don't want it to reach my urethra where it's trying to get itself out, just because it can get stuck. I mean, I had it going from my kidney to my bladder, and I was still able to urinate. It wasn't like it was impossible. Obviously, the stone has its own way of just kind of getting stuck or lodged where it's still being pushed down, but I'm still able to completely urinate.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes more effort. And it takes that part of the body more time, and it can get infected and it can get irritated. And
It just needs to be done.
right. But it's just those little things. Like, one more thing I could even mention is just like, and I know this kind of seems very personal, and I hope it's not too much TMI, but when you're getting ready for a procedure like I am, where I'm going to be knocked out, and they're going to go up my urethra, and they're going to have a bit of like a laser that kind of breaks it up, and then it will be able to come out, and they will be able to get that all flushed out for me. They will then just have to put a stent in, which is completely something I'm able to take out on my own at the comfort of my own home 4 days after. Very simple procedure. They said it's not going to be a problem.
Right.
Okay, cool. To get prepared for that, they need a urine sample.
And she's done those 2 times.
I've done it 2 times already. And I've done everything I was supposed to do to make myself clean before I gave it. Like I've done any other time for any other test. But now I have to now go in next week and get a catheter put in to get a clean sample, because my anatomy is just not letting me work. And to be honest, I'm struggling with a little bit of fear. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's not, but I know that they know their job, and I know they're not going to make it deliberately uncomfortable. It's just,
Right.
it's just a necessary evil kind of a thing. But I am nervous that once that catheter goes up to my bladder, whether that could cause any sort of issue where the stone will then find its way to travel out because it's found its spot.
Right.
I don't know if that's possible, and I know that that's kind of like possibly an irrational fear on my end.
But you just don't know.
But like, I normally don't have things go up. That's supposed to be a tube that just goes out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm just, it's just like one more thing. One more thing. And it's been a very interesting walk, just having God be like, you know what? You knew this was going to happen, which means I'm going to rely on you to help me through it. I'm going to try to listen and continuously understand that you are faithful in every way. And kind of leading into the verse for the day, which is the fruit of the Spirit. And I know that's kind of a weird topic to bring up right now, but the reality is,
We needed something lighthearted.
well, it's more of the fruit of the Spirit is born when God is active in your life.
Yeah.
When you are truly in a relationship with God, these things will happen,
Well, show through.
will show through. And these things are, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. That is from Galatians 5:22 through 23. And there's this aspect of when I let God be Lord of my life, when I remember and determine that He is I got distracted. When I recognize His role and understand that He knew this day was going to happen.
Yep.
He already knew that I was going to have to get the catheter in. I was going to be struggling with a kidney stone, that He was going to provide a way for it not to happen anymore. Miracles happen on His own way.
Right.
And I'm not against the medical field. I'm not against insurance. But God knew that the devil was going to try to take away my peace,
Your joy.
my joy, my patience,
Yeah.
my ability to be loving, my ability to be gentle and kind, and
Right.
not that that isn't my responsibility also, but there's also this aspect of, because the devil was making it such a big storm, it took my focus off of God.
Right.
And so the benefits of God kind of started to,
Go by the wayside.
yeah. As soon as I was just like, God, obviously this is not your timing. I gotta trust that this is your timing. I am nervous about waiting a couple more weeks, but I got to believe that you are not going to let me suffer. I'm not going to be in a state of needing to be rushed in. I'm not going to be in a state where I'm going to have to go to ER again. I'm not going to have this pain. Once this is done, it's done. I'm not going to have any more kidney stones.
And the insurance will be
and
cleared up.
and the insurance will be all done, and the catheter's not even going to be a problem. I'm going to be able to handle it, and just all these different things, because you prepared me for this. This is how you intended it, and you're going to work everything to my benefit.
Yes.
Because I am choosing to leave you as Lord of my life, and I know that these are my benefits. It's kind of like the whole, it's kind of the funny thing of kind of like the favor of, if I'm not saying that being in a relationship with God is a job, but it's kind of like that. When you are hired in, you have the ability to act on your benefits of actively being in that job.
Right.
When I am in this relationship with God, I have these benefits that I'm going to be able to see these things bear fruit in my life. And I'm going to protect those fruits and not let the devil pick them off of my tree.
Right.
Those are for me to eat,
Right.
not for him to spoil.
Right. And that's the whole thing.
I got to be careful to prune, allow God to be the gardener and prune my life and make sure that what's supposed to be in my life is there, and to be able to keep these things evident. And I got to be careful about the things that are going to try to take it away, the pesticides, the pests, and the things that are going to try to take it that aren't supposed to be there.
Right.
Because they're my harvest.
The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. When we know God, we know that He is love. In the Bible it says that He is love. And so if you have love,
And have Him.
you have Him. And self-control, if you have self-control, which is the last item on this list, if you have self-control, you have all the rest of that list, because you are able to show kindness and and give goodness and have the faith that the Lord gives you, and put it to good use, and show others what it is to be a Christian, to live
God
to live life with Him and for Him.
It's a very interesting thing. I've been reading books on parenting or dealing with past trauma, and it's very interesting how they talk about it in the aspect of it feels like you lose yourself in the moment, and these big emotions arise and you're not even aware of what's going on, and you kind of lose that self-control. And learning that you have to learn your triggers and then learn how to respect your limits is the best way to maintain self-control, because we have this idea that, well, we have God, so it's not like going to the bar is going to affect me because I can just choose to have a Coke. Well, for some people that's possible. That's not where their limit lies. They're able to go and be able to minister to people or hang out with friends without that temptation there.
Right.
But if you're going to follow along and then that goes into your hand, your self-control is lost.
Right.
Because we have to have this aspect of God does not expect us to lead the same life as everyone else. We cannot be envious of what other people's limits are, or their abilities, or where their boundaries are. We have to be able to respect ours if we're going to be able to do as God has asked us to do. And to be the best us and to be able to produce the best fruit, we have to know our limits and know what is just not safe to let in.
Right.
And that self-control is just, this is something I just cannot have in my life. Well, it's not a bad thing. No, it's not. But it causes me to go down a wrong road. And like for me with my kids, the further away I let my buttons get to them, the less likely they're going to be pressed. The more that I'm able to understand where my boundaries are and understand that if I act first, they're not likely to get the punishment of something that's not even their issue. It's mommy just getting overwhelmed.
Right.
That's not their job to be worried about me.
Right.
And just different things like that. Just, it's very interesting that when you do as God asks you to do and you follow along with His plan, He opens the ability to see even how to use the fruit that you have.
Yeah.
Because you think that it's born in my life, but it's a skill. Sometimes it's a muscle that you don't even know how to use. You have it, but it's like you can have all the armor, and like I was talking to someone about the armor of God. I'm like, you can have the armor and not put it on. You can have the sword and the shield and not know how to use it.
Right.
I said it takes practice. It takes actually taking the time to have it real to you.
Yeah.
It's just the same as a fruit. You can have it, but are you eating it?
Or are you practicing it?
Are you practicing it? Are you giving way for God to be able to show how it's evident in your life?
Right.
And it's just that whole, we have to be willing to let God show us what it means to have it in our life.
Yeah. And the very ending of this says, against such there is no law. When you are practicing kindness and goodness and gentleness and faithfulness and love and peace and joy and patience, you're not going to have people. People usually will not come against you when these things are activated in your life. They're kind of drawn to you. They want the same thing as you have, and they want to know where you got it from. And that's a good time to testify and to give your testimony.
The difference between a relationship with God and having a religious relationship with God is the difference between knowing Him and having it be like some sort of set of rules.
Right.
And do's and don'ts. You don't really get to know someone based on do's and don'ts. You might know some things about them, but you're just assuming that there's this aspect of, if I do something wrong, they're not going to ever...
Right.
There's no going back.
Right.
Whereas that's not how the relationship of God works. Not when He gave His Son to die on the cross to be able to have us be able to have the chance of second chances and be able to repent and be able to have this ability to this relationship. Otherwise, we would have actually had no ability to even reach heaven.
Well, and that's the true love of God right there.
Yeah.
Is He sent His Son to take away our sins. And if we say, okay, Lord, thank you for that, and what can I do for you? And He's like, well, you can tell other people about me, and you can make sure that others know, and that they're saved too. That show them my love. Yeah. And that's the whole thing right there.
And something else just came to me. I wasn't practicing patience by trying to do things on my own. Yeah. And God gives us the ability to practice patience in a way that's healthy. And my craft has always been that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an idle work. It's not a work that has no benefit. And
there's such good things that come out of it.
And in some weird way, I'm going to have time to get some things done before my surgery. And if I just look at it as maybe this is His timing for me to be able to have this be able to get things done even before that happens.
Yeah.
I can, and have things planned out for what happens after.
Right. Yeah, because she's going to need some downtime after the surgery, so that'll give her something to do too. So
we enjoyed talking with you today. Again, this kind of is a little bit of a recap of what's been happening in our lives. We'll get more into a normal routine with our videos again very soon.
Or this could be the new normal. We just don't know. Right now, we're just enjoying talking with you.
Yes. We hope that you have a good day. We hope that you have a good week until we see you next time. And we ask that if you have any questions or even some prayers that you would like us to stand with you for, we are completely available to communicate and converse via our email that will be linked in the bio, or even
in the comments
if you feel so inclined. We'd like to see what you're working on, and if there's anything that you would like to see us try, or just what is your fall crafting thing. Like I know a lot of people that like to make wreaths, or like to carve pumpkins, or like to do this and
macrame.
Yeah. My kids have been painting pumpkins because finger painting pumpkins have been a thing in my household recently. I'm still dirty.
Hey, they're 2 and they're 3. That's the perfect time to do that.
Yeah, so it's just been fun. We just like to see what is happening in your lives as we're sharing ours. We enjoy this.
Yeah.
And we hope that you are enjoying it as well. Before I just continue rambling on, we're just going to say we love you. We hope that you have a good week. God bless you. And as always, we hope that you sit your way
to mental health.